familiar faces. I'm not regularly a part of your community, so I do hear about it from time to time. And I suspect I'm in the company of some very sophisticated people. So I'm just going to take a moment to see what I most want to say. There's a lot of things I could say, and I don't want to get lost in the talking. My intention is to say a little bit about what I want to emphasize, a tiny bit about myself, and then to offer some experiential time to give you an opportunity to test out some of what I'm saying. And I really don't know, it could be a little bit new to you. It could be quite new. It could be quite challenging. It could be very familiar. It could be what you always do. I do think in some ways what I want to talk about is a return to something very basic and maybe taking it a little bit deeper in some way. When I was thinking about this, I thought I wanted to start with just talking about myself a little bit. I don't know myself well. I don't know if anyone here can claim to know themselves well, maybe. I certainly can't claim that. And even when it comes to trying to tell you why I feel and think and care about the things that I do, I really have to make up a story about it. I really don't know why. But for whatever reason, I really value openness. And I really, really struggle when I can't be open myself. I can feel it in my body. I can feel this refusal to open up to the world, to others, to what is real, to dying, to aging, to relationship, to not making assumptions. I want to be open, and I find it very difficult to be open. In fact, for me, I would think I could say that everything that's in the way for me is something that's in the way of my openness. Now I can get a big picture of myself, so I'm just going to change the view. Yeah. See, I'm not open to looking at myself. In my development as a person, I came across existentialism fairly early on. And for me, the reason that existentialism and phenomenology that goes with existentialism, the reason that it was important to me is it felt like the only thing I had come across that said, just be open. Just remain open. Don't conclude anything about anything. Just keep asking questions. And I began to realize that if I could just keep the questioning alive and live in the question itself, I got what I thought I would have got from an answer. That just the question itself was so much more important to me. I could feel my body expand. And I felt more alive to the mystery of life. I felt less invested in trying to understand. I was happier not understanding. So that might sound very counterproductive and counterintuitive. But for me, it's the most healing thing I've ever experienced, I think, is just to be able to ask very basic questions. What is a person? What is existence? What does it mean to be alive? What should I do? What is death? How can anything be meaningful? What is time? How does the universe work? Questions that are just, you can tell any answer that somebody would give you to any of those questions, there's a slight constriction. There's a slight kind of like, ooh, I mean, that might be true, but it doesn't feel like the kind of answer I'm looking for. Yeah, I would love it if I could live just radically open all the way through right to the end, and then just dissipate into nothingness. And that would be the final act of my desire to be open. So anyway, I came across focusing many, many years ago, as many of you did. The thing that appealed to me was focusing gave me two things. It gave me a way of opening up to myself, and it also gave me permission to prioritize the kind of answer that comes through the body, and to take that as more important than the kind of answer that comes on the page. I needed that. I needed to rescue myself from all of the theories and philosophy and techniques and everything else that I was being offered as answers. I didn't want those kind of answers. I really wanted the kind of answer that's just like the feeling in your body, and a feeling that continues to move and change itself and respond to walking down the street or to a smile. That was the more kind of living thing that I was looking for. And I found that through focusing. But I have to say that over the years, I feel in myself, and I feel like I've witnessed this from others, that focusing too can begin to close down. And we can begin to import into our focusing things that we're learning all over the place. And I'm not saying those things aren't helpful, they can be incredibly helpful. But we can start to drag them into our focusing, and theories or doctrines or techniques or ideas or basic assumptions about the past and the present and all sorts of things. And I'm just wondering if we could return to a more radically open focusing. So that's my question. And I certainly have learned that everything that I ever want to tell other people, I'm really wanting to tell myself. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm taking this opportunity to tell myself something. And I'm hoping that it might be of some value to you as well. Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so if it's okay with you, that's probably enough of an introduction. I'll tell you a little bit more about what I have in mind for what comes next. And if anyone objects or has a better idea, I'm open to that. Otherwise, let's try it. And I'm not invested in this being a powerful, life-changing experience for you. It would be nice if that happens. I'm just sharing it, and you'll see how it lands with you. But I did want to say that it's a very, very simple, guided experience that won't be very different, I don't think, from a lot of what you already do. Except that at the end, I'm offering a few questions that, if it feels right, you can ask, not your head, not to work out in some way, but simply to take down into your body and see if those questions help to unconceal anything about what's happening in the relationship between you and what you're experiencing. So that part of it might be slightly different. And then with Mitch's help, I would like us to go into small groups. I think probably groups of 3, or could even be 4, for about 25 minutes, for people to share anything that they want to share, because there's always things that come up that you feel comfortable sharing with 1 or 2 other people, but you don't necessarily want to have on a big recording that everybody sees. And then we can come back together and see if there's anything that we want to say to each other in the whole group. Does that sound like an okay, loose structure? Okay. Okay. All right. So I would invite you to get comfortable. And some of this I have it written down. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to be doing it myself as I go through it. But it'll remind me, especially when I get to the questions. So yeah, it's okay with me if you want to turn your camera off, if you want to leave it on, if you want to stand or sit or lay down, anything like that is fine. And of course, if you want to move or keep your body loose enough that movement is invited, that's also fine. Okay, so probably you want to close your eyes. Most of you have already done that. So first of all, you're probably already starting this way. And I'd like to just invite you to just kind of relax your awareness so that it can include your body. So that your awareness isn't held up, maybe where it is quite often, but it can actually relax down and include your whole body. As you do that, you may feel at least some areas of your body begin to soften a bit. Also, maybe taking a moment just to get a real sense that you're being held by the world around you. That you don't really have to hold yourself anymore. You won't just float away. But you have some kind of connection with all that is around you. And you can use that as a kind of harbor if you need that later on. Just letting yourself feel your whole body, however you usually do that. And then I'd like to invite you to let your awareness actually extend beyond your physical body, to include the air around your body and the room that you're sitting in or standing in. And as you let your awareness extend into the room, you might begin to notice sounds around you. things that you weren't even aware of a moment ago, the clock ticking or traffic noise or sounds that might be right next to you or far off in the distance. So without grasping on to any of these sounds, just notice them. Just like a little chorus within your awareness. And just see if you can allow your awareness to expand, to include what you hear around you. And to gently notice how your body feels as your awareness expands. Your body might have a feeling about that. So you might notice that your awareness is not limited to your head, but at least in some way, your head is in fact inside of your awareness. You now have this expansive space all around you. Clear, vast space that you are within. It would even be difficult to find any clear boundary where you end. Sense of inside and outside might feel a little less distinct or a little more permeable or subtle than usual. So just see if you can relax within this expanding awareness without needing to hold on to anything or make sense of anything. Just letting anything you notice just kind of come and go. No resistance, no grasping, no need to know, no need to guess about anything. For the moment, no need to fit anything into boxes. No need to import anything that isn't actually right here, right now in your awareness. If you're aware of feelings and sensations, try not to decide which are pleasant or unpleasant, which are old or new. Try not to define them as known or unfamiliar. Just noticing everything that's there and letting it be the way it would like to be. Letting it decide. You might notice that the body is not really a solid thing. It's not solid and dense like a rock. It's probably more like a collection of different areas. Softness, tightness, pressure, vibration, tingling. Some areas might feel open and fluid with everything around you. Other places might feel curled up within themselves or anything else. So just seeing if you can rest within that gentle awareness. Gentle awareness that has a particular kindness and care towards everything within it. So then take a moment to sense from within this space what really wants your attention. What feeling or felt concern or sensation is calling for your company. Just take a moment to see what really wants your attention. And try to stay relating to it from this openness, not from inside any kind of knowing. Let it be more than any words or labels or associations or personal history. Let this feeling be more that you can understand through a pattern or a story. For some reason, it's shown up just like this. It's to be welcomed and understood just like this, without being wrapped inside of something else. Just see what that feels like. So once you're in touch with something, this feeling, from its own autonomy, try asking these questions right down into your experience, not into your thinking, not into any kind of previous knowing. And of course, no response has to come, there's no pressure. But just being open to anything you notice, right down in the experience itself. I'll just read these very slowly, one at a time. You can just see if any of them help lift out anything for you. So staying down in your body. First of all, now that you're in touch with this feeling, is there anything that you're still telling yourself about this feeling? Ideas, assumptions, anything that's already present from your side. It's already crept in somehow. Just see if there's anything like that and see if you would be able to set that to one side just for the next couple of minutes. See if you can just have nothing in between you and what's in your experience. It's like you've opened the door, seeing if it's okay just to stand in the doorway, greeting it just as it has arrived. In the close, it's coming. Looking directly from you right at it. Just seeing if you can be that clear. And if you can, just sensing what does it actually feel like to be directly present to this feeling without anything else in between. Is it okay? It might feel quite intimate to be so directly in contact. So just sensing if you can experience yourself and your feeling very openly, without any judgment, enjoying a kind of unknowing about it all. It might actually feel quite nice. Staying in relationship with this feeling. Now sense to see if the feeling has any attitude or view of you. Does it have any attitude or view about you as you face each other like this? And how does the feeling's attitude towards you influence the relationship between you? The question, is there anything that you're afraid your feeling might want from you if you were really open to it? If so, maybe just acknowledge that. Is there anything you're afraid your feeling might want from you if you were really open to it? There's just a couple more questions I'd like to offer, and you can see if they fit for you. If you could get this feeling to say or do exactly what you wanted, that'd be. If you could get the feeling to say or do exactly what you wanted from it, what would that be? And how does it feel about that? And if the feeling could get you to say or do what it most needs from you, what would that be? Is there something that it feels you really don't understand about it? Just sensing if there's anything else that needs to happen between your awareness and this feeling before we let it begin to settle for now. And I encourage you, if there's been any sense of a little bit of openness or space or anything new that's arisen for you, I would encourage you to really protect that so that nothing would come in and sort of close it down or package it up in any way. Let it be unknown, let it be unfinished, mysterious, and just loved the way that it is as possible. Okay, so when you're ready, you can to make your way back to the room you're in. And turn on your camera if it's off, open your eyes if they were closed. You don't have to rush that. You're getting a little sense of how you are now. It might be different from 40 minutes ago.